Wubba lubba dub dub. Hello everyone and welcome back to Fandom Pop. This is the greatest channel on YouTube, and on this channel it is a momentous month. This is an entire month dedicated
to Rick and Morty video content.
And what better way to make Rick and Morty video content than talking about the latest episode? Yes, there's a new episode of Rick and Morty. It was the season 4 premiere. Edge of Tomorty, Rick Die Repeat. That is a play on words of the Tom Cruise movie, Edge of Tomorrow. That is a great movie. I love that film. I did a review of that back on my old channel if anyone's interested. So to break down what this video is going to be, it is going to be my analysis, my perspective on the latest episode, and, you know, pointing little things you might have missed here and there, little things I've gathered up from the internet, little Easter eggs and whatnot. I'm going to try to not just tell you what happened in the episode like, you know, every other video is going to do, and you watched the episode probably already, so I'm hopefully not just recounting bullshit to you. I'm trying to give you my personal take on it, which hopefully will be some value to you. Please keep watching, don't unsubscribe, please, I'm begging you. We begin this season off pretty much where the last season left off, where Jerry is officially back in the family. It's just like it was in season 1, and Rick is basically having like control issues about it. He has to ask permission from Morty before he takes him on adventures, which is hilarious. Like, Rick and Morty's bond throughout this episode is pretty great. Not only is he like asked Morty to go on adventures now, not only did he like save him from a laser, like he put his life on the line to like save him from a stray laser, but on top of that, at the end of the episode, Morty was like super hyped alongside Rick. They were doing like their little chant together, like 1,000 years of Rick and Morty or whatever he said. Compared to season 1, Rick and Morty have bonded like on a deep emotional level, and that's awesome. Like, I didn't want Morty to just be a scared bitch for like 10 seasons. I like that he's a matured character now. So the adventure that they go on is Rick is trying to find a crystal that will kind of predict how you're going to die, in a similar way Tom Cruise was able to predict how he would die in Edge of Tomorrow. This crystal will show you different paths, and you can kind of like slowly try to build towards that future where you want to die the way you want to die. Or you can just use it to play your fucking Call of Duty games and just always predict what the enemy's gonna do. Yeah, you can do that too. Morty grabs one of these crystals, right? And he sees one of his endings. He sees him and Jessica old and dying, and he's like, that's best ending right there. I'm gonna go for that ending. None of the other endings matter. I think this is the second time I ever saw Morty drive the spaceship, and he drives so fucking badly because that will eventually lead to Rick dying. Him not wearing a seatbelt finally bit him in the ass, and he dies, and because he's Rick, he has 1,000 backups even if he dies. I was watching a lot of Twitter reactions through this episode, and people were like, oh my god, he's dead. Like, this guy has died and cloned himself and done so many crazy things. Like, this is like a fraction of like whatever the original essence of species or whatever the fuck that the original version of this Rick is. It's still C-137, but he's still like a clone robot thing of another clone robot thing that endlessly just keeps getting remade over and over again. So basically a hologram Rick shows up and tries to show Morty how to like resurrect him, right? And I tried to think back in the past, and I was like, okay, a lot of instances like when they were in danger, when like Rick's floating in space, like, yeah, I guess there are instances where Rick is in danger and like these certain events don't line up. I always think back to like A Wrinkle in Time when he was like about to die in like a vacuum of space. Like, yeah, that instance he did think he was going to die. The truth crystals have got to Morty's brain. He doesn't give a shit. He doesn't really care if Rick lives. He's going for that ending, or he just believes Rick will never die no matter what he does. So he keeps going. He doesn't revive Rick. From this point on, we get a couple different subplots. One subplot is there is an AI version of Rick kind of like always egging Morty. He's like, come on, just revive him. And he has all these other holograms that have even different personality. There's like a nice little stoner AI personality, and they all have like this constant theme of AI is as good as actual life. That's what I love about Rick and Morty. They didn't need this hologram AI Rick to like be funny or like to do much, but they gave him a whole subplot. They gave him a bunch of really good jokes, I love this little AI hologram Rick. And our version of Rick is basically being cloned into different dimensions because his facility is, you know, no longer up to snuff. So he's just being cloned into random dimensions. And this is probably my favorite part of the episode, is he's just being cloned into random ass universes. He gets transported into a fascist. I love having a lisp. He gets transported into a fascist universe, and then another universe where they're all shrimp and they turn out to be fascists, and then it's just an endless cycle of these terrible universes, and they all have really good gags. I really love this part of the episode. I could have watched a whole episode of Rick just being transported into different universes. But it turns out like the Wasp version of Rick is apparently super nice, and he's aiding the actual Rick into getting his shit done. The Wasp version where they're eating eyeballs and stuff. Yeah, that's the ideal universe. But during all of this, Morty is on a crusade to get his ending. He even gets approached by Jessica, who's like hitting on him, and he turns her down. He's like, apparently we're gonna reconnect in our 40s, I think, even though she's like trying to seduce him. Their relationship has gotten really weird. It's like implied that like Jessica is very well aware of everything going on with Morty and like kind of secretly likes him, but like they're kind of like tiptoeing around them actually getting together. You can't really do that to Morty. It's essential for him not to get with Jessica. So they're in a really weird place right now where she's literally trying to seduce him in this episode, and he thinks that he's going about it the right way by reconnecting when they're in their 40s, despite the fact, if you watch the after credits scene, that ending was not even real. When in reality, she was just a hospice worker being nice to him on his deathbed. And for some reason in this crusade, he goes to fucking war. He gets a bunch of Rick's guns. He has a bunch scattered throughout the goddamn house, but he finds a bunch. He basically annihilates like a small militia of perfectly normal, innocent people. Doesn't care. Nobody cares anymore when Morty murders people. He just murders innocent people in this episode, but he's still a good guy, I guess. And the way he kills these people, these weapons are awesome. The Meeseeks come back twice in this episode. I remember in my video, the 10 things I want from this season, I wanted Mr. Meeseeks back. I'm perfectly satisfied. They brought him back, and he destroyed an entire army. There was an army of Mr. Meeseeks in this episode. I'm so motherfucking happy right now. Oh, and Gearhead comes back. He just got murdered in like one of the alternate universes. I guess he was an alternate Gearhead, considering the other Gearhead's balls and other parts are all I'm sorry, his gear parts are all fucked up. Do you hear the words coming out of my mouth describing the show? I just feel bad for my neighbors, man. After that, Morty goes Akira and turns into this giant fucking blob. It does look like the aliens from Edge of Tomorrow. It also looks like the fucking trees from Fern Gully. Yeah, he turns into that, and he basically is like, I'm just gonna wait out like a bunch of years of my life until the right moment. And until that happens, he's just gonna sweat it out. Rick and his friend Wasp Rick come to save the day, and they save him. They save him, and then AI artificial hologram Rick suddenly is like obtains life via this giant plant thing that Morty turns into. So he's like, I have mass, I am a god. So they gotta take him out real quick. After that, the status quo has been turned back to normal. Rick and Morty go on a tirade about 100 years of Rick and Morty. They're really fucking happy. They're all juiced up. They're saying, hey, we're gonna do a bunch of stuff. We're gonna do old stuff, new shit. We're always thinking of new ideas. The usual, the writers talking to the audience bullshit that they always do. And I gotta say, it was a great episode, but right at the end there, Summer came into the episode and she ruined the entire thing. I don't know what was up with that. I'm probably gonna give this episode an F because of what happened there at the end. Alright, but my actual thoughts on this episode, my little analysis, my little review. This wasn't a really great episode. I'm gonna get like my little nitpicks out the way. I didn't really like Jerry or Beth in this episode. After last season, like Jerry and Beth like having these major roles and being like a real big part of the cast, like it was like, oh, now they're just kind of taking a back seat. Jerry especially, like he always has like dumb jokes and is always like made to look like a little bitch, but like he has a deeper character than that we explored. So now that he kind of just feels like he digressed a little bit in this episode, I was like, okay. But I'm sure, you know, maybe that was the point of season 3 when they're like, oh, we're just gonna put him back in the family. Maybe that was all just a detour. And I saw some people complaining that there was no Tammy, there's no evil Morty. Guys, it's episode 1. Like, if they're not in the entire season, then okay, yeah, that's a little bit disappointing, but like, this is the first episode. Chill. And comparing these to the other season premieres, you had A Wrinkle in Time and The Rick Shake Redemption. Those are amazing episodes. If you look on my top 7 episodes video, those were both on it. So this episode had a lot of competition, but I'm gonna say it delivered. Would I put this in my top 7 episodes? I don't like doing that because, you know, it's a little early on, but like, from what I've seen, this is gonna be another classic Rick and Morty adventure. But I'm stoked for the new season, you guys. Like, I was really starting to like get a little like nervous because I remember when season 3 came out, a lot of the like original Rick and Morty fans who like saw like that their show that like got all popular and everyone loved it. I have a whole video about this coming out, but like, people like didn't necessarily like the new version of Rick and Morty, and I kind of felt like maybe I'm not gonna like it. Maybe after the Szechuan sauce and all these other fucking things that have like kind of polluted the culture around Rick and Morty, maybe I wouldn't like it as much. But like, I've never really gave a shit like if something's popular or not. That doesn't like subtract my enjoyment from it. I live in my own bubble, and this episode was just as good as all the other episodes. This show to me has always been great. Never detoured from that. If you thought season 3 or like other things that were bad, maybe you just thought, you know, the show got ruined by the fan base or other things. I don't know. That's you. That's not me. I do me. I'm gonna do me. And I thought this episode was pretty fucking dope. Anyway, guys, my current plan is to do a video for each of the new episodes of this season, and you know, maybe in the future. If these videos don't do well, I probably won't keep doing them. So please, if you enjoy this video, please leave a comment and just let me know if this is something you're interested in. Like, literally just a couple comments will probably give me the motivation to keep doing it strong, man. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching the greatest channel on YouTube. I'll hopefully see you next week, and until then, with that, I leave you.
Dead man on the inside, still got all my wrists tied. She owns all the wrist ties. And then the premise and move on. Dead inside as your loss. Fantasies from real life. I tell everybody, hold on, this is an album.